ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 16 verse 5 Daivi sampad vimokshaya nibandhaya asuri mata ma shuchah sampadam daivim abhijato vasi pandava. Divine qualities are the cause of liberation and demoniac qualities are the cause of bondage. O son of Pandu, do not lament, for you are born with divine qualities. In the first 3 verses of this chapter, Shri Krishna described the divine qualities or qualities of those who are born at a very auspicious time. He described them in great detail. Then he briefly described the demoniac qualities or the qualities of those who are born at an inauspicious time. Now, what is the result of having divine or demoniac qualities? Shri Krishna is describing that in this verse. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that Krishna is saying it is only by divine qualities that one can endeavor for liberation, and it is only by demoniac qualities that one becomes bound to this world. So, this is the main difference. The result of having divine qualities is that one will become purified and will become free from the entanglement of illusory energy. Thus, upon leaving this body, he would not have to take birth again in the material world. He will go to the spiritual world. That means he will become liberated. So only one with the divine qualities understands that the material world is temporary. It is full of miseries. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. And this is not my real place. My real place is the abode of the Lord, where Shri Krishna is residing with his eternal associates. A place where there is no birth, no old age, no death, no disease. So, he uses his human life very judiciously while taking care of his responsibilities. He applies himself to the cultivation of transcendental knowledge and engages in devotional activities. Thus, as his divine qualities become more prominent, his heart becomes completely purified, he realizes his spiritual form and then ultimately becomes liberated from the material world. But on the contrary, those who have demoniac qualities, they become more entangled in this world. They are engaged in sinful activities. As a result of that, their mind becomes even more bewildered, leading them to do even more sinful activities. We take birth again and again in the material world because of having performed sinful acts. And sinful acts are performed only when one has demoniac nature. So, one of the demoniac qualities is violence, hurting other people. Right? We have discussed this before. So, a divine person has no anger. and he does not hurt anyone by body, mind, or words. But one who is demoniac is violent, he hurts other people physically and tortures them mentally and by his words as well, says abusive things. So, from the brief description of the demoniac qualities that Sri Krishna gave in the 4th verse, now Arjun may be thinking that I am demon. I have all these demonic qualities because I am here on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, ready to fight and kill my own relatives. What can be greater violence than this? That because of this war, my own family will be destroyed. These are the men of the family, and once they die, their wives will become widows, their children will become orphans. So, in fact, when you kill someone, not only that person gets killed, but also his family is hurt very badly. Right? So, violence is bad, and in a war, there is so much violence. So, but Krishna, see, this is where Krishna is clarifying that what is violence and what is not violence. He tells to Arjun that don't lament that you have any demoniac quality, because this act of war is not irreligious. So Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states that Arjun may lament, alas, alas, I must possess demoniac qualities like hard-heartedness and anger, for I desire to kill my relatives with arrows. In response, Sri Bhagavan says, Ma Shuchaha, do not lament, and so forth give him solace. You are born in a dynasty of Kshatriyas, the warrior class. Scriptures that deal with morality allow a Kshatriya or a warrior to be hard-hearted and angry while at war, but to be violent, etc. in other circumstances is demoniac. So, if one is fighting a war for the protection of religious values, for protecting the innocent who are being tortured by irreligious rulers or dictators, if one is fighting the war according to the injunctions of the scriptures, then such a war for the person who is fighting it for the religious purposes is not considered an act of violence. But for the other person who is the perpetrator, the other party who is fighting it for their own selfish reasons, to take over that country or to take over that area by force, and then torture the citizens of that area by taxing them, or so many different ways, as we have seen. There are so many invaders and they have wreaked so much havoc in the life of people. In the past, you see the history, so many such cases are there. So such perpetrators, such invaders, what they are doing is not religious, and their act is act of violence. But in the same war, those who are defending themselves and trying to protect the religious values and innocent citizens, their act is not an act of violence. And here Arjun was fighting for the protection of religious values. So Shri Krishna is saying, O Arjun, by cultivating Gyan Yoga, while following Varnashram Dharam, the principles of the 4 orders of life, one achieves the purification of one's existence. You are blessed with divine qualities, being born in a noble Kshatriya family. It is not demoniac to kill one's relatives in a religious war, to shoot them with arrows, or to perform other such activities in accordance with the injunctions of scripture. Now, having heard this instruction, you should give up your grief. So remember, Bhagavad Gita is a book of dharma. The first word in Bhagavad Gita is Dharam Kshetre. That this battle of Kurukshetra was being fought in a place which is a place of religion. It was no ordinary place. That was a holy place. And that's where this battle was being fought. So naturally it was for the protection of religion, and Arjun and everyone on his side was fighting the war for the right purpose. So what Krishna is saying, that your act of war is a divine quality, but the act of war of the Kauravas is a demoniac thing. And in this war, Krishna, through Arjun and his brothers, wanted to kill the demoniac people who were fighting on behalf of Kauravas, and the Kauravas, all of them. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj states in the commentary that for a Kshatriya, a military man, shooting arrows at the enemy is considered transcendental, and refraining from such a duty is demoniac. So, a very important point, that someone who's fighting the war for the right purpose, if he runs away from the war or does not discharge his duty of protecting the innocent, then in fact he is exhibiting demoniac quality of running away. So it is very important that we understand that act of fighting is not always violence. It depends what is the purpose for that fighting. So there was no cause for Arjun to lament. Anyone who performs the regulative principles of the different orders of life is transcendentally situated. So whether you are a Brahman, you are a Kshatriya, a Vaishya, a Shudra, whatever class of society, according to your qualities and activities, and if you are performing your responsibilities as per the scriptural injunctions, then there is no bad effect of that. In fact, as Sri Swami Maharaj states, that such a person is transcendently situated. Now in the next verse, verse number 6, Shri Krishna states, Dvau bhut sargau loke asmin daiva asura evacha daivo vistarashaha prokta asuram partha meshrinu. O Parth, in this world there are two types of created beings, the divine and the demoniac. The divine qualities have been described at length. Now hear from me about the demoniac nature. So the first 3 verses of this chapter, Krishna had described the divine qualities in great detail. The 26 qualities he had described, which we all discussed. And then in verse number 4, he described just a few demoniac qualities. Now he wants to describe them in detail. Shri Gurudev states in the commentary that Bhagwan Shri Krishna is now giving a detailed description of demoniac qualities so that one can know what they are and completely give them up. So unless we know what is the cause of a disease, we will not be able to give it up. Sometimes, if you have a stomach problem, you may be thinking the problem is something else. So to know the root cause of a problem is important to be able to solve that problem. So root cause of all the problems in our life, the various challenges that we face, the cause of our mental disturbance, the cause of problems in society, anything that we see in the world is because of demoniac qualities. So once we know what those demoniac qualities are, then we can try and give them up. So it is important to know what are they and what are the detrimental effects of such bad qualities. So therefore Krishna is describing or will describe now those in detail. Shri Gurudev quotes from the Padma Puran, where it states, Dvau bhuta sargau loke asmin daiva asura evacha Vishnu bhaktah smrito daiva asura tat viparyaha. Devotees who worship Bhagwan are called demigods. Conversely, those who are envious of Bhagwan and his devotees are called demons. Those who follow the instructions of scripture, who are free from mundane attachment and hatred, and who engage in bhakti to Sri Bhagwan should be considered as devas or demigods. So very important that living in this world also, there are people who are demigods or are as good as demigods, and those who are like demons. See, a demon is not someone who has horns on his head or has very sharp teeth and big nails, like sometimes it is portrayed in the picture books or in the movies. That's not what a demon is. A demon is someone who has demoniac qualities. So among us also we have such people. And in fact, the truth is that all of us have some proportion of demoniac and divine qualities. It is not such a black and white thing that one, some of course may be completely divine, some are completely demoniac, but then a lot of people have a mixture of these qualities. When we say mixture, that means there are different proportions of this. So we have to endeavor to get rid of our demoniac qualities, and by the cultivation of devotional activities, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, by hearing the holy name, by hearing about the Supreme Lord, His divine pastimes, and then by chanting His holy names, remembering Him, like this, performing the ninefold process of loving devotional service, we can completely become free from demoniac qualities. So Shri Gurudev says that those who follow the instruction of the scriptures and who are thus free from all kind of mundane attachment and hatred, who engage in bhakti to Shri Bhagwan. So this is important, that without engaging in bhakti, we cannot actually develop any real divine qualities. But those who violate the instructions of scripture due to being guided by material attachment and hatred, and who engage in irreligious activities, are called asuras or demons. So this is the most important distinction, that those who follow the scriptures and who engage in devotional activities will have divine qualities. Those who do not follow the instruction of the scriptures. Now here the important thing is, what scriptures are we saying? The scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, which describe pure bhakti. And if the instructions of the scriptures are followed not for material gains, but for real spiritual advancement, then one will become divine. But if one misuses the scriptures and not, he does not really follow, because scriptures, the true scriptures, will only guide us to become detached from material sense enjoyment, to give up bad habits like anger, hatred, lust, greed, and so on and so forth. But one who, even when apparently or externally making a show of following the scriptures, but in fact is misusing the scriptures for his ulterior gains, as we discussed before also, will not develop the divine qualities, will only become more entrenched in the material consciousness. Nowadays, there is such an aversion to follow the scriptural injunctions. What to talk of scriptural injunctions, even to follow any kind of moral principles. And that's why we are seeing rampant degradation of the cultural values, moral values, and that is having an effect on the peace and harmony throughout the world. If we want to live in a peaceful and happy society, there is no other panacea other than to follow the injunctions of pure scriptures like Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada states that the difference between the divine and the demoniac mentality, for this there is no other criteria but obedience to the regulative principles of scriptures. This is the one and the only criteria. It is mentioned in Vedic literature that both the demigods and the demons are born of the Prajapati. The only difference is that one class obeys the Vedic injunctions and others does not. So we are all the progeny coming from the same lineage born from Prajapati. But those who chose to become averse to the Supreme Lord, averse to the scriptural injunctions, they became demoniac. And those who choose to obey the scriptural injunctions, those who want to make progress in spiritual life, they develop divine qualities. Now it is upon us what we want to do. Krishna has given us this independence, that whether we want to go back to Him and live a blissful life in His loving service, or we want to continue suffering in the material world. The choice is ours, whether we want to develop divine qualities or demoniac. We will continue this discussion next time. Till then, Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe. Have a very blessed day.